Today we're going to talk about the beautiful world of brisket. And in the very first video of this channel, I'd like to introduce you to the steps that I take when I make a brisket. So as you can see here, we've got this lovely trimmed, it's choice grade brisket. And what I did was last night I trimmed off all but about a 1/4 inch of the fat that was on top of the brisket. And then I put it on a cooling rack and I shoved it in the refrigerator overnight. The purpose of doing this is that it creates a pellicle overnight on the brisket, and what that's going to do is it's going to help to adhere the smoke that gets applied in the smoker. So some things to kind of think about are that, you want to make sure you're choosing your seasonings appropriately here. I am personally someone that likes to look at
smoking these meats here.
1:1 ratio. So for me, I'm going to use granulated garlic powder. I'm going to use kosher salt and fresh cracked black pepper. And I think that the real trick to brisket here is you really have to use fresh cracked black pepper. I've tried doing it with the traditional store brands that are like, pre-ground and all that, but sometimes it doesn't give you that nice punch that fresh ground offers. So as you can see here, I'm taking my pre-measured amount of peppercorns, I'm popping them in my grinder, and I'm going to put the cap on it and give it a blitz. I added a nice little sound effect here so you didn't have to hear the actual sound of this thing because it is super freaking loud. But after the end, we got a nice ground product that's ready to roll. So now we've got all three of our spice ingredients, our kosher salt, our granulated garlic, and our black pepper, right? They're in equal proportion. I'm going to shake that up. In the meantime, I'm going out to my smoker because I want to start getting it prepped. So I'm going to scrape out the bottom, put my charcoal and chimney in there because I'm doing traditional stick smoking. For me, I've had pellet. Pellet smoking's fine, right? Everyone has their thing. It's got its niche and it's got its purpose. For me, I like stick because you get a better concentration of smoke. Something I failed to show you later in the video, but I'll catch now in editing, is that I used apple and cherry wood for the smoke. Yes, I've got my little fire starter lit. Chimney's going to start doing its thing, get cracking. Now, we're at the next stage. A lot of people are going to tell you when you do a brisket, you got to use a binder, bro, to get your spice to stick. I mean, come on. I don't know about that. No, you don't have to use a binder. And if you do this right, you get the appropriate amount of seasoning on there. You don't have to oversalt your meat. And your meat, when it comes out of the smoker, is going to be fantastic and super flavorful. I mean, I've not had a brisket doing this method in the nearly 5 years I've been doing this that came out tasting like trash, except for the very first one my buddy Aaron and I did, because really we had no idea what the hell we were doing. It was, we smoked that sucker for 17 hours thinking, yeah, we know what we're doing. We're smoking dudes. We're pit masters, I mean, come on, brah. And we weren't. We learned a lesson and, we did a little bit of research. And so as you can see here, I've got my meat. It's all rubbed down.
Yummy!
We're going to do this right. And coming up, we're going to pop this sucker right on the smoker. It's going to be set to about 200 initially. Just gonna slap my meat on your grill.
I'm making meats now.
It's going to, penetrate the meat, get all those flavors in there. Something that I do that some people do and some others don't is I do what's called the Texas cheat. It's the 5-hour smoke, okay? I've had, like I said, I did a 17-hour brisket once. That smoke didn't taste any more powerful than a 5-hour smoke does. So I keep doing that. So what I'm doing, I'm going to keep my smoker at about 250, 225 regulated the whole time. So now you see we've got the brisket. It's pulled off. I've got a couple layers of aluminum foil down. And I'm going to crack a beer open and pour just probably about 2 to 3 ounces in the very bottom of this. And the point of this is it's going to create a steaming environment for that brisket. And we're going to pop this into about a 425, 450 degree oven. That's part of the Texas cheese. So you can see here I'm at 133. But since I'm kind of new to this, I forgot to take the video showing what this guy looks like when it comes out. So I apologize. But I tell you, I got this thing up to 204 degrees. I like to pull it about 202 to 205. So 204 is right in my range. I wrap that sucker up in a towel. Pick an old towel because it's going to get smoky, okay? So I take an old clean towel, wrap it up, and I shoved it in a cooler. Again, something else I forgot to show you guys, and I apologize. Later on, when I redo this video, it's going to get better, but right now, we're where we're at. So we've got this brisket. It's come out of the cooler after coming out of the oven. Like I said, wrapped it in towel, put it in the cooler, and it was in there for 2 hours. And what this does is it helps to redistribute the juices of the meat. And as you can see from opening this foil, this meat is super juicy. It's nice and moist. I know people love that word. It's Atlantis moistisette. Some might even say it's moister than an oyster, baby. And kind of giving you a little bit of a flyby bird's eye view of this thing. I want you to see, how juicy this thing really looks. And going to get ready to crack and slice into it. But, before I slice, I want to kind of just say, I see a lot of people just slice this thing and then smush out all the juices. I got to ask why.
Yeah, really, that doesn't make any sense to me, Bill.
I mean, seriously, why would you take the time to make this brisket, get it super tender, super juicy, and succulent, and then you want to squish all the juice out? I can't figure it out. And as you can see in the background, my darling little daughter, Finley, she's very excited to work with her dear old dad as this channel starts to get itself off the ground and take its first steps.
What's that sound, Sonny?
Timber! Got a nice little slice there for you. And I'm going to pick this thing up and jiggle it around a little bit. And, really you want to kind of do the bend test. If your brisket can flop around like that and slap the cutting board, that's awesome. But you see, it's pretty juicy, right? It's super tender. It's perfectly well rested. We're going to give this thing a bite and crack into it. And for me, I had a really good time making this. And, one thing I wanted to say is I appreciate you taking time to watch this. And if you take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this video, that'd be really awesome. It would help me out, help me grow this channel. And something else I would ask is, if you have any ideas, if you want to see me make something, drop it down in the comments below.
Pretty hard to beat.
But I can always do better. And as you'll no doubt have guessed, I sound like a big chungus here because that's what I am and that's what I do, baby.
That's to make a good amount of people happy.
Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate your time, friends.